Belize. It has a size of around 20,000 square kilometers and there are around 140,000 people living there. And all what I say is based on this book from 1978. Other things which are said there is that it is in Central America, south of Mexico, next to Guatemala. And in the north, at the coast, there it is low and swampy, in the north in general flat. To the south, there are mountains, 1,100 meters high. There are 25 degrees in Belize City, subtropical climate, and 1.5 meters rainfall per year in Belize City, 3 times as much in the mountains, where also many rivers are. And 90% of the country are covered with heavy forest, and a lot of the economy is based on forest resources. For a long time, for 250 years, it was dye wood which was exported, when synthetic dye was invented, and then it was more wood for furniture, mahogany and chica for chewing gum. And it has a low population density with 6 people per square kilometer. And the book isn't saying it clearly, British buccaneers and lodgers settling in the 17th century. The country was known as British Honduras for 300 years, something, I guess. The book isn't saying it. Then there was in 1821 that Central America got independence from Spain, and since then Guatemala has laid claims onto the territory of Belize, and I don't know how to pronounce it. And then the country got in 64 internal self-governance, 1964. And then further moves towards independence. The book's from 1978, and I think it is now an independent country, but part of a Commonwealth as far as I know. And there was in 1961 a hurricane which destroyed Belize City, and then the capital was shifted from Belize City to Belmopan. And that is according to the Reader's Digest Library of Modern Knowledge, Book 3, Part 22, Regions of the Earth, on the page 1133. Written by Hugh Clayton, John Colmack, a Frenchman, and D.H. Sinclair in the year 1978, and the positions and views expressed are the ones of the source that don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken of. Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn international studies, today Belize, and after we've done it, we're gonna do extensor kappa in-house strength training. And if you participate in the extensor kappa in-house strength training, then it's with your own risk. And I don't even know how to pronounce it. Belize. It could be Belize. Belize. Britain owes Belize its only territory on the mainland of Central America to buccaneers and lodgers who were the first outsiders to settle there in the early 17th century. The book is from 1978, so I don't know, maybe that has even changed. So they're saying here, I think what they mean is that Belize was, at least in the year 1978, a part of Britain, but I don't know. It is there in Central America here on the map. Somewhere there, southeast of Mexico. The sheltered harbor and the rich forest land that drew them to Belize, called British Honduras until 1973, remain its chief natural assets. So there is a sheltered harbor and rich forest land. The northern coast is low and swampy, and the land north of Belize City is flat. Belize City, now the capital is Belmopan. Okay, capital Belmopan, and the north coast is low and swampy, and then the land north of Belize City flat. To the south, a mountain range rises to about 1,100 meters and is the source of many rivers. And then in the south there's a mountain range somewhere. So there begins already Honduras, so it must be around, and there's Guatemala. So it can be just in that region. Now, 1 centimeter are 200 kilometers, but I can't find the borders so on the map here, so I can't say how big it is. There it is, 20,000 square kilometers. Still can't say how big it is. but broadly at 20,000, so it are 20,000 times 1 kilometers, or 2,000 times 10, or 200 times 100, 200 times 100 kilometers. The climate is subtropical with temperatures in Belize City varying between 23 to 28 degrees Celsius. Rainfall there averages 188 centimeters a year, but almost 3 times as much falls further south. Belize City. Belize City is very north. Okay, where Belize City in the north are around 25 degrees and 2 meters rain, but further in the south it are 3 times as much rain. There are also the mountains, maybe because of the mountains. More than 90% of the country is covered with heavy forests, and there's a lot of forest. The economy of Belize has always rested on the forest resources. As demand for one product faded, a new one took its place. For 250 years, the main export was dyewood, until the invention of synthetic dyes killed off demand. Do we mean to make colors out of it, to dye with it? Is there a tree which can be used to make? Yes, certainly. Why not? Well, so it was dyewood, but then the invention of synthetic dyes killed off demand in the 19th century. A new market developed for wood for furniture, especially mahogany, and then one for I can't get the word. CHICLE. I'm not pronouncing it. Used to make chewing gum. Okay, it was dyewood, but when synthetic dye was invented, and then it became mahogany wood for furniture and something to make chewing gum. Efforts are being made to improve agriculture, particularly the production of sugar cane and rice. Agriculture is developing sugar cane and rice. However, much food still must be imported. About 10% of the people are European in origin and more than 50% are Creole, that is, of mixed origin. Nearly 20% of the inhabitants living mainly in the south and west of the country. We're saying here 140,000 population 1976. Nearly 20% of the inhabitants living mainly in the south and west of the country are of Mayan Indian. And 15% are Black Caribs, a native race with their own language. Okay, we had 10% people with European origin, 50% having European and the people living there origin, 20% having Mayan Indian origin, and 15% Black Caribbean. There are also numbers of Lebanese, Chinese, and Asian Indians descended from indentured laborers. What does indentured mean? Indentured. So there are also other people from Lebanon, China, and Asian Indians. The density of population is low, 6 per square kilometer. After a hurricane devastated Belize City in 1961, the capital was transferred to Belmopan in 1970. Okay, the capital was Belize City, destroyed in Hurricane 61, then the capital became 1970 Belmopan. Now the book is from 1978, so it could be that there has again something changed. Neighboring Guatemala has laid claim to the territory since 1821, when Central America became independent of Spain. 1821, Guatemala, Central America becoming independent of Spain, and since then Guatemala has claims on Belize, or is making claims on Belize. America became independent of Spain. Central America became independent of Spain. The dispute became particularly acute in 1964 when Britain granted internal self-government and has hampered moves towards independence during the 70s. So it could be that Belize is no longer part of Britain, but if that is the case, I actually think it is part of a Commonwealth. It is a sovereign independent state, but part of a Commonwealth. I think that is it. Okay, and when there was a dispute, when it became clearer that Belize becomes a self-governing independent country. It was international studies, but if you were here for international studies, you can go directly to the next part of international studies, where we're gonna go shortly over the text again and try to make a presentation saying there what was said over about Belize. If you stay here and participate in the extensor kappa und Haus strength training, wenn es wird etwas gut ist, extend arms up, hands onto fists, down, and up. And hands like that, down, and up. We're having 3 rules. The first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as there's pain. The second one is that we're going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third one is that we're stopping immediately as soon as there's pain. With here, not overdoing it, we just want to strengthen, not to exhaust. And you can use a t-shirt, a towel, or a sock, press onto it, and down. Press evenly with all 5 fingers up again. Down. And up. And press. And now, like that, and to the outside. And change, press, in, and out. And now, press, down. Other hand, press, down, and up. And just press neutral position, change. And that was the extensor kappa nerve strength training. I thank you very much, and